Institute's fabulous virtual curiosity hour. I'm Miranda from Wood TV8, and it is so good to be with you today. Thank you to each of your families for taking the time to join us. We're so glad you're here. Be sure to turn on the camera so that we can see who's watching today. You can keep your microphone muted, but we definitely want to see your smiling faces. All right, tonight is going to be spectacular. Of course, we would love to have you with us at the Education Institute, where together we could create things, do hands-on experiments, and so much more. But due to the current situation, we're going to do this virtually. But don't worry, we're going to have a whole lot of fun. So I hope you're ready. Do you want to make some elephant toothpaste? I do. I can't wait. We're also going to be having an Seltzer rocket explosion. You won't believe it. It's that and so much more. So I want to give a big shout out to our friends at Crystal Flash who are helping us do this tonight. Thank you for your support. I also want to thank my friend Tara Durango and her entire team at the Education Institute who have been busy working to make sure that tonight you're going to see some science experiments that you can try right now or you can try later with your family. The key is that get curious and that you think about things and you question things and you create. So join me in welcoming my friend Tara Durango. Take it away, Tara.
Thanks, Miranda. Really appreciate you joining us as well. You bring such a great energy and pizzazz to our event, so thank you very much. And welcome, everybody. As Miranda said, normally at this time of year, we are welcoming folks. We're opening our doors, bringing them into our facility where you can try different experiments on your own. But of course, things are a little bit different here. But with the Untitled Institute, I can tell you one thing that's not on quarantine, and that is curiosity. Curiosity is definitely not on quarantine, so we were going to make sure that we bring that to life this August in the same way that we would have in person, to show you that just because it's virtual learning doesn't mean it can't be hands-on. So tonight we've got two of my favorite things to bring to you. One is science, and the other is pizza. So I can't think of a better way to spend this evening. So here's how it's going to work. We have 4 of our teachers that we're going to cycle through. They're going to introduce themselves. They're going to tell you about an experiment. Hopefully you all picked up your pizza and you also got, at least when you picked it up or maybe ahead of time, this list of supplies. If you didn't, there are probably things you have around the house. You can find those. So these are experiments that you can do at home. If you've got the stuff now, we encourage you to do it alongside us. You'll see how to do it, and then we'll give you a chance to try it. If you didn't get the materials, don't worry. We can get this out to you afterwards, and you can try them on your own or try them again later. Change something up, see how it works. So we'll go through our 4 different experiments, and then we're going to turn it over to Chef Jenna, and she's going to walk you through how to make your wonderful pizzas that you've got in your kit. And then I'll come back to share one last science demo with you and send you out with a bang. So that's how it's going to work. As we've talked about, we encourage you to collaborate, communicate. Let's make this a little group. So use the chat as often as you want. Your teachers will prompt you sometimes with a question. You can chat in that chat box. Or also, if you are doing an experiment, encourage you to move your camera to where we can see what you're doing. Or if it's not somewhere you can move your camera, take a picture, and there is a link to a Google Drive in the chat box. So we encourage you to take pictures, load them up into that link, and we can share them with you. We can all see what we're working on together. So that's what we've got in store for you. I'm super excited that you're here to join us. We'll keep it to an hour. We've got 4 different experiments and a pizza to make. So I'm going to send it right over to my friend Jamie for your first experiment.
Thank you, Tara. I am so excited to be here today. My name is Jamie, as Tara mentioned, and I am a Learning Solutions Specialist at Van Andel. And what that basically means is I make really fun things for teachers to use in their classroom with their students. So speaking of fun, we're going to do something really fun today. We're going to make oobleck. And so oobleck is pretty easy to make. You need cornstarch. It's 2 parts cornstarch to 1 part water. So we've measured out 2 cups of cornstarch. And what you're going to do, if you have those on hand and you're ready to go, you can mix along with me. We're going to pour in our cornstarch. Get it all in there. After we have that all in there, you may need to like dig it out of your cup like I do. Once you have done that, don't be afraid to get messy. We're going to take our water now and we're going to pour our 1 cup of water. And this is where it gets pretty cool. So once your 1 cup of water is in there, you're going to take a spoon. You probably want a stronger spoon, and you're going to start stirring. Okay, and you're going to notice as you mix the water with the cornstarch, it starts to get like kind of gooey. And the good consistency you're looking for is like the consistency of glue. So maybe a little bit thicker. So you're gonna stir it up, and if you have food coloring, once it starts to mix, that's probably a good time to add it. So we're gonna add in some blue drops here. And just a couple drops are great. And we're gonna then stir it up. Okay, now this is where you're gonna notice some cool things happening. Now, the cool thing about oobleck, as we're mixing this, I want to explain the science behind it. So it's really cool. You're basically taking, we have 3 states of matter, solids, liquids, and gases. And so oobleck is actually a non-Newtonian liquid. And what that basically means is it doesn't follow Newton's law of viscosity. So what it does, it kind of lives between a liquid, and when force is applied, like stirring or like picking it up and grabbing it, it kind of acts like a solid. So once you get it mixed here, and I'll kind of show you the consistency here. You're probably, like I said, glue is a kind of a good thing to guide you. That's when you know you've got it really good. We're gonna keep mixing it. And what you're gonna wanna do then, and this is, like I said, don't be afraid to get messy. This is the fun part. So we're gonna put our hand in there and we're gonna grab some oobleck. So I'm gonna kind of stir it a little bit here. And then I'm gonna put my spoon aside and I'm gonna grab some. And now if you're doing this with me, this is a really cool part. You're gonna wanna roll up your sleeves, of course. Now, we're gonna grab some oobleck and we're gonna dig down deep and you're gonna notice if you're feeling it, you're gonna see like the cornstarch kind of settles to the bottom, but you're gonna pick some of that up. And then you're gonna wanna take it in your hand and squeeze it. And now if you squeeze it, you're gonna see that it kind of acts like a solid when it's squeezed. And as soon as you release it, it turns back into its liquid state. And basically what's happening at that point is you're kind of forcing those cornstarch particles to kind of push those water molecules and trap them inside. And as soon as you let go, it goes back to its liquid state. So really cool. Now I'm gonna just kind of peel this off my hand, and I have something else really cool. Now we're gonna get to what we call the dancing oobleck to end our time together today, but before we do that, we're gonna test. And you could test lots of things you have at home. We have a few things here we're gonna test. We're gonna have a poll for you to take. So you're gonna tell us what you'd like to be placed into the oobleck. So if we can put that poll up, you have a choice between a cell phone, or I'll start small, coin, paperclip, popsicle stick, a pair of eyeglasses, and a cell phone. Which do you want to see dropped into the oobleck to see if it sinks or floats? Go ahead and make your choice now. And again, it's kind of fun. So if you are a kid and you're trying this out, make sure you check with mom or dad first to see if it's okay to drop something in the oobleck. Parents, you might opt for that cell phone if it's your child's, right? So let's go ahead and end that poll and see what our results are. Oh, yes. So it looks like most of us chose the cell phone. So we're gonna take this cell phone here and we are going to drop it in the oobleck and you're going to see if it sinks or floats. And if you guys, oh my goodness, almost instantly that cell phone sunk to the bottom. Awesome. Oh gosh, it's gonna be fun getting it out of there. Okay, now we're gonna move on now to something really cool, and it's called dancing oobleck. Some of you may have seen this before, but basically we're gonna take that oobleck that we just made, we're gonna take a spoon, and we are going to scoop out a little bit of it. Okay? Now we're gonna take a scoop of that. You probably wanna make sure you dig down deep for this, and you're gonna place it. Now I have over here, if you can see, I have a speaker, kind of an old school speaker. And on top of that speaker, I'll set that spoon down a second. On top of that speaker, I have a piece of plastic wrap. Now, that's really, really important because once the cornstarch mixture, the oobleck, gets on there, it's kind of hard to get off, so you want to put that down there to protect it. So we're going to take a scoop of our oobleck, and we're going to place it right on top of that plastic wrap. Now, in a minute here, we're going to give you guys a chance. If you have these things at home, we're going to give you a chance to try it out too. But before we do that, I just want to say, I didn't have any luck with one of these like at-home speakers, but maybe, just maybe, you guys can get it to work. And if you can, that's awesome. We'd love to see and hear how you did that. So post a picture or Google it in Google Drive or go ahead and tell us. All right, sorry about that. Now we're gonna go ahead and we are going to give you guys a minute. If you'd like to join us in this part of the experiment, we're gonna give you a minute to go ahead and grab your speaker, grab a piece of plastic wrap, and then we will see if we can get our oobleck to dance. So we can go ahead and start that 1 minute timer. That'll give you guys time to go grab what you need. Okay, that's been about a minute, and we are going to now start our music. So if you've gathered your stuff and you've placed a little bit of that oobleck onto your speaker, of course with that plastic wrap there first, we're going to turn on the speaker now, and we're gonna see if we can get it to dance. Oh. Now you should start seeing it kind of bouncing around, and once if this is kind of moving for you, what you can say is you are seeing sound, because you're seeing those sound waves kind of stand up on that speaker. So cool. We're gonna stop that music now. I hope you guys were able to get that to work as well. Wait, oh, had a little, sorry guys. The bass kind of made us dance around a little bit there. Now, if you can see me still, whoo, that got a little crazy. We're going to take this video now, and we are going to pass it off to Audra. Audra, you are up.
Awesome. Thanks, Jamie. Hi, everybody. My name is Audra. I am an intern here at Van Andel Institute. I work with students in our K through 12 programming. So for the next activity, we are going to see what happens when you put a grape into the microwave. Hopefully, maybe we can make some sparks fly with this one. So what you're going to need for this activity is pretty simple. You're going to need your microwave, a microwavable plate and glass, preferably a clear glass so that you can see into it. You're also going to need a knife and at least one grape. So for this activity, we're going to need to use some safety. So I'm going to put some goggles on. If you guys have some goggles that look like mine, go ahead and put them on. So I'm wearing my goggles to protect myself. So the most important thing that we're going to need to do is keep a close eye on our microwave so that we make sure our grape doesn't explode. The glass is also going to be a little bit hot after you put it in the microwave, so you got to be careful when you take it out so that we don't burn our hands. There might also be a little bit of a burning smell, but it shouldn't be too overwhelming, but it might stink just a little bit. But before we get started, I would love for you guys to do one thing. I would love for you guys to talk with your family members for just a few seconds, maybe about 10 seconds, about what you think is going to happen when you put your grape in the microwave. Do you think that it might melt? Or do you think that it might explode? What do you think? Go ahead and take about 10 seconds. Talk with your family members about what you think is going to happen. All right, take about 10 seconds. What do you think is going to happen? Melt, explode, hopefully doesn't blow up. What do you think is going to happen? 2 more seconds. All right, so now that you've had a chance to talk, let's try it. So I'm going to show you how to cut your grape, all right? So we have to cut it a specific way or else it's not going to work right. So I'm going to show you how to cut your grape. So I have my grape and my knife. So we want to cut this like a hot dog length, right? So when we learn how to fold paper, we learn either a hot dog or a hamburger style, right? So we want to cut our grape like a hot dog length. So that means lengthwise, long style. But there's a key. We don't want to cut all the way through our grape. We want to make sure at the bottom there's still some skin attached. So I'm going to show you what that looks like here. So when I undo my grape, it still is attached here. You can see the skin is still attached, doesn't come all the way apart, okay? So you are gonna have some time to try that in just a minute. But once your grape is cut apart, you're going to put it onto your plate, just like this, okay? You're gonna put it right onto your plate, and then you're gonna put your clear glass right on top, okay? That's very, very important. You need to make sure you have a glass covering it, and then right on top of your grape when it goes in the microwave, all right? So now my grape is ready to be placed in the microwave for no more than 30 seconds. No more than 30 seconds. So now my grape's ready to be put in the microwave. So let's watch and see what happens. All right, so now it's going to be your turn. So following the steps that I just described, you guys are gonna have a chance to try and see what happens to your grape when you put it in the microwave now. So you're gonna have about a 1-minute timer that's gonna pop up on the screen to guide you along. So follow that timer so you know when to come back to the screen. And you guys know about the Google link that's posted in the chat. So try to take a picture or a video, if you can, of your grape in action and post that to the Google link in the chat. When the timer is up, you're gonna come back to the screen to find out what happens if you leave your grape in longer than 30 seconds and without a glass covering the grape. So go ahead, you have about 1 minute, gather your materials and stick your grape wave in the microwave. All right, welcome back everyone. If you're like me and put goggles on, you might have some lines on your face, but that's okay. So welcome back. Hopefully you've had a chance to put your grape in the microwave. If you didn't have time, that's all right. You can try it afterwards after we are all done with the event. So let's take a look and see what happens if you left it in longer than 30 seconds and without a glass covering it.
Oh yes. Lights back on.
There we go. Wow, that is so cool.
That was good.
Well, hopefully that didn't happen to any of your microwaves because that looks like it might have damaged some, but you're probably wondering what is actually going on in this grape, right? Why does that make sparks fly? So grapes are water heavy, right? When we bite into it, it's got a lot of water in it. The grape traps these wavelengths of energy that the microwave emits. It gives off this energy, and the grape traps all of that. It's the same size, the diameter of the grapes, so it's really easy to trap it inside that grape. The energy that gets trapped, it starts charging up all these electrolytes that are inside the grape. That energy flows from one half of the grape all the way to the other, using that skin that was still attached like an electrical wire, okay? That current, it quickly burns through the skin, causing the electrolytes to jump from one half of the grape to the other. And that surrounding air becomes like supercharged, and it causes those bright sparks to fly around, okay? So that's why that skin is really, really important to still be attached. So I have a couple of questions for you guys to get you thinking with your family members. And if you feel like you want to, go ahead and post your responses in the chat. But you can also just talk with your family members about these, all right? So I have a couple questions for you. Do you think that the reaction would be any different with a different colored grape? So I used a green one. Maybe some of you used red. You think it would be any different with a different colored grape? Or what would happen if we cut the grape a different way? Right, I cut mine like a hot dog. What if you cut it like a hamburger? What would happen if the grape pieces weren't attached? Okay, so we know why that skin was important. What would happen if they weren't attached? And one more for you. Are there other types of foods that have that large amount of water that we could use for this? Would they work? Do you think we would still have the similar reaction that happened with the grape? So post your answers in the chat if you feel like you want to, and don't forget to post your pictures and videos on that Google Drive. So thanks for doing Microwave Lightning with me. Hopefully you enjoyed this activity. We're gonna pass it on to Kate and Temple, who have another fun activity for you to enjoy.
Thanks, Audra. So we are gonna get started with ours. So my name is Kate. I'm a lab tech here. I'm behind the camera. We have Temple right here in front with me. Temple's gonna be doing our experiment for me today while I narrate what she's doing. So today we're gonna do some elephant toothpaste. For one that you're gonna do, you need a half cup of hydrogen peroxide. You need 1 tablespoon of dish soap, 10 drops of your favorite food coloring, any color works, 1 tablespoon of yeast already dissolved in 3 tablespoons of hot water. It does need to be dissolved in the water. It won't work as the powder. You also need a bottle of some kind. We prefer an empty hydrogen peroxide bottle, but any 12 ounce to 20 ounce bottle should work. It just might take longer if your bottle's a little bit bigger. So first, if you look at Temple, she's practicing a lot of safety. She's got some goggles on, just like Audra did. She's got some gloves on, and we're gonna make sure that if you're doing this at home, you have a parent helping you do this, just to make sure that everybody's being safe. You do wanna be careful with this reaction. It does get kinda hot. I'll talk a little bit about that later after we show you. And the hydrogen peroxide can hurt you if you use a high strength. We're just using 3% today. So that 3% won't hurt you if you touch it, but other stronger percentages can. So first, to start this experiment, Temple added a funnel into her bottle just to make sure that it's pouring a little bit cleaner. You might want something to catch underneath you too if you're doing it on a table, like a big plate or something. It doesn't make a big mess, but it does spill over a little bit. We're just using a picnic table outside of our building. So after she put the funnel in, first thing that she's gonna do is add that hydrogen peroxide. That's gonna be our base for this experiment. Next, she's going to add her 10 drops of food coloring. We're using green for this one. Pop it off sideways, not twist. There you go. We're dropping, okay. Next, we're gonna add the dish soap. So she's got 1 tablespoon of dish soap already measured out. Once that drips in there, we're gonna take the funnel off and swirl our bottle. Do not shake it, because that will make the bubbles bubble up a little bit too much to start. So now we're gonna put the funnel back in just to make it a little bit easier to pour. We're gonna pour that yeast and then pull the funnel out and watch it go. This does take just a second. You can kind of see in the bottle as it's rising, it's getting much bigger, and here it goes out of the top. So the way that this reaction is working is that the yeast that we added pulls an oxygen off of hydrogen peroxide. So hydrogen peroxide is made up of 2 hydrogen molecules and 2 oxygen molecules. So when one is pulled off, we're left with water. And then one of those oxygens is going to bond with another oxygen, and that is gonna be the oxygen gas that we breathe and need. That oxygen is getting stuck in the bubbles from the dish soap. That dish soap is what's making it all foamy right now, and the oxygen is getting stuck inside of it. So now we want you to try it yourself if you haven't already done it along with us. Just make sure that when you do it yourself that you don't touch this reaction until it has actually completely stopped bubbling. There is unreacted hydrogen peroxide in there, so if you're using that 3%, it's okay, but if you do a stronger percentage, it could hurt you a little bit. It does get hot, like I was saying earlier. This is an exothermic reaction, You'll see a little bit more of that later, but this exothermic reaction means that when it's reacting, it gets really hot. It pulls energy and creates heat. So we don't want to touch it until it's done and it's cooled down. If you want to try it yourself, make sure you post photos to the link that's in the chat. We're going to come back in about a minute, okay? So go ahead and take a minute, gather your supplies, and try it yourself. About 1 minute. Awesome. I saw a couple guys, a couple families working on it. Your reactions looked really great. So we're actually going to do one more for you today. So we're going to have a poll pop up in just a second. That's going to ask you, what color do you think our next reaction is going to be? Give you guys a second just to answer that poll. Take a guess as a family, maybe talk about different colors. Do you think the green looked cool? What color did you guys do? All right, let's come on back from that poll. Let's look at the results. I'm trying not to show you too much. So the winner was purple with an orange following quite closely behind. All right, so we're gonna do one. This one is gonna be a little bit bigger, so we're actually gonna watch a little bit further away. This is what happens when you use science grade experiments or ingredients. So go ahead, Temple, we're gonna add that in and she's gonna back off pretty quickly. So this one goes, it gets bigger and then it expands. If you look, it's really, really big, taking over this whole side of the picnic table. So the reason, let's chat in the poll for a sec, or in the chat box. If you can type what you think changed. Why did this one go bigger? You saw the ingredients that we added the first time. Do you think it was the yeast, the hydrogen peroxide, the dish soap? Go ahead and put a guess in the chat for me. We have a guess of higher percent of hydrogen peroxide. Any other guesses? More food coloring, also a good guess. This is a very bright orange. So this one actually, there are a couple things changed with this one. So for this one, we did use a higher percentage of hydrogen peroxide. So we actually made a big, big jump from the 3%. And then we did up the quantity, so we quadrupled this one. And we also used a different catalyst. So a catalyst is what makes the reaction go. In the first one, it was the yeast. And this one, we actually used something called potassium iodide. That's what makes this a really, really thick foam if you look at it, and it is very, very hot. I can feel the heat just from standing here. That's why we want to make sure that we back up when we do something that big. So the higher concentration of hydrogen peroxide meant that there were more oxygen atoms that were able to be pulled out, and the potassium iodide made it go a little bit faster. So that's why we saw it go and then also get bigger. So thanks for hanging out with us today. I'm gonna pass it off to Ben.
Hello, everybody. I am Ben, and at the Van Andel Institute, I work with the teacher program side of things, which means that I get to meet with teachers and help them become even more awesome than they already are. I also sometimes set them up with Blue Apple projects. That's my sticker right there, where they have a chance to make the world a better place with their students while having a really great time. And speaking of having a great time, you're gonna have a great time with our engineering challenge today. Now, I love engineering because you have a chance to build and to make and to create. You get your hands on stuff and test things out and see what works and what doesn't. You have a chance to be a problem solver. And today, the problem that we're going to solve has to do with bridges. Now, there are lots of different kinds of bridges. There are arch bridges and truss bridges and suspension bridges. And today's type of bridge is a paper bridge. And we call it a paper bridge because you are going to build it out of just one sheet of paper. Now, you can only use one sheet of paper to build your bridge. That's what's called a constraint. Engineers always have to work within constraints. Those are the rules that engineers have to follow as they're trying to solve their problems. So you're gonna need a couple of very simple materials for this project. You need that piece of paper. You also need 2 big fat books and some pennies. So piece of paper, 2 big books, and some pennies. If you want to go ahead and grab those right now, that will help you follow along with this activity. Now, as you grab those activities, I'm going to point out one really important safety precaution that you need to follow, and that safety precaution is don't get a paper cut. That's it. Other than that, it should be very simple, which goes to show you that if you are a curious person, you're never going to be bored. Even with super simple materials sitting around the house, you're going to find interesting things that are going to spark your curiosity and help you to have a great time. So let's check out how I have this engineering challenge set up. Hand down. All right, you can see there that I have 2 books, a piece of paper, and I've got some pennies. For this project, I chose a science book because science rules, and a calculus book because math also rules. Now, you want those to be exactly 8 1/4 inches apart. That's another one of the constraints that we need to follow. The books need to be exactly 8 1/4 inches apart, not 8 inches apart. That's cheating. That 1/4 inch makes a difference. 8 1/4 inches apart. Then take that sheet of paper, and I'm going to put that across, and voila, I have formed a bridge. Now, we want to put that bridge to the test. So we're going to grab a penny, and we're going to see if this bridge can support the weight of that penny. That penny right there was made in 1938. It's getting to be close to 100 years old, and we're going to see if that bridge can support it. Now, before I do it, why don't you just give a thumbs up or a thumbs down? Thumbs up if you think the bridge is strong enough to hold that penny. Thumbs down if you think it's going to collapse in a terrible bridge disaster. Miranda thinks it's going to crash right to the ground. Let's put it to the test and find out. Here we go. It was a disaster. That bridge crashed right to the ground. So, working within our constraints, we have to ask ourselves, is there some way that we can form a stronger bridge? And I think we can do it by changing the shape of that paper. So if I take that sheet of paper and if I fold that in half, I think this might be a stronger shape. So I'm going to put that back on our big fat books, and we're going to test it out. If I put that 1 penny on it, as you can plainly see, it holds 1 penny. It holds 2 pennies. It holds 3 pennies. It holds 4 pennies. Show me on your fingers. How many pennies do you think that bridge is going to hold? It's got to be more than 4. Well, 4 or more. Miranda thinks it's about ready to collapse. Jamie, Audra, what do you think? How many pennies do you think that bridge can hold? It holds, it held 4 pennies. The 5th one caused it to collapse. Now, the question that we should be getting curious about is there an even stronger shape than just a straight old half sheet of paper? I'm going to try what's called a channel shape. So I'm going to give it a little bit of an edge to both sides. And now that it has that channel shape, let's see how strong that is. Grab some more pennies. 1, 2 pennies. Let's see if it can hold more than that. 3 pennies, 4 pennies, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. The shape of the bridge definitely changes how strong it is, right? You might be getting curious, what kind of shape is the strongest kind of shape that we could use? Is there something that would be even stronger than this channel? Start thinking about that because you're going to try and build it in just a second. 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33. I've officially decided that it is boring to wait for me to break this bridge. It's so strong, and we don't want to be bored. We want to be curious. So I want you to take those ideas that you were just thinking about, and I want you to try and build your own shape. Why don't you try something different than this channel shape right here? I'm going to keep testing this out over the course of the next minute. I'm going to see how many pennies it will hold, and then I'm going to challenge you. I'm going to challenge you to see if you can build a bridge that's even stronger than mine. Are you ready? You've got 1 minute to build your bridge. On your marks, get set, go. All right, ladies and gentlemen, what have you come up with? You want to show us on your screen? Take your camera, pan down to that screen, make sure your camera is on so that other people can kind of scroll through all those other pictures and see what people have created. Ron and Kurt are laughing about their creation. I wonder what they have devised. All right, I'm going to reveal what happened when I put mine to the test. So I'm going to pan that camera right back down. You can see that it collapsed. It finally collapsed. But you know how many it took? It took 47 pennies before my bridge collapsed. Now, just one straight old flat sheet of paper couldn't even hold 1 penny. When I folded it in half, it could hold 4, and now we're all the way up to 47. Now, what I want you to do is to take your shape, take those 2 books that are exactly 8 1/4 inches apart, and start adding pennies to them. See how strong your bridge is. While you do, I'm going to tell you the big idea for this investigation. This investigation is all about engineering. Engineering is a process of thinking. It's a way of thinking about the world. And engineers, well, sort of the basic idea is they're going to try stuff out and see what works. We want to put our ideas to the test. And when we find out that things don't work, we want to think about how we can improve them. That's called iteration. When we try things again and again, we test and improve, test and improve. And it's because of engineering that we've built all of the incredible, wonderful things that we have in the world these days. All the bridges and skyscrapers, all the computers and smartphones. Those all came from this process of engineering, the same process you're using to build a little old paper bridge. All you have to do is you have to be curious about the world. Test things out, see what works, see what doesn't, and continue to make your stuff better and better and better. Now, by this time, you probably have gotten your bridge to collapse. You know how many pennies it took to break that bridge. And we're going to put a little challenge out there. Why don't you enter into the chat box a number, the number of pennies that it took to break your bridge. So if you have a paper bridge at home, go ahead and enter into the chat box how many pennies your paper bridge supported. Let's see what we have. Oh my goodness, Kirsten has already dethroned me as the champion of paper bridges. Make sure to share a picture of that into the Google Drive. I'm curious what other people have come up with. And while you enter those into the box, I'm going to hand it right back to Miranda because she is going to introduce a very special person. Back to you, Miranda.
Thank you. Wow, that was pretty amazing. I hope you have totally been loving everything today. I've learned so much so far. Now, let's all start chanting. Pizza time, pizza time, pizza time. It is time to create pizza. And here's the deal. We decided to bring in the queen of all pizza making, a woman who is extraordinary. She has a huge heart and she is tons of fun. I call her the Pink Queen. Please join me in welcoming Chef Jen from Amore Restaurant in Grand Rapids. Welcome, Chef Jen.
Hi, everyone. I hope you can hear me. Not if you can hear me. Can everybody hear me? Yay. Well, it was so fun to watch everybody's experiments, but none of them were something you could eat. So I'm glad I'm the person in charge of that. I hope you have your pizza kits in front of you, and your oven needs to be on to 380 degrees. Does anyone have their oven on already? I hope you do. So I got my pizza kit in front of me, and I have this awesome ball of dough. Now, we had yeast in our other project too, except I don't think that was something that they could eat. So I'm looking forward to getting you some food tonight. So if you got your pizza kit, take it out of the plastic, and it feels so soft, doesn't it? I am going to put it on a pizza pan. I'm gonna put a little bit of oil down just so it doesn't stick. That's completely up to you, but I like to put a little bit of oil on mine. So you can see I put a little oil on my pan, and I'm just gonna have some fun with it. Now you can make it any shape you want. You know, you can make a square, you can make a circle, you can make a triangle. Be creative. I wanna see your photos of your pizzas after this, okay? I'm looking forward to seeing what you come up with. So if you can see, I put my pizza on the pan, and I am just pressing it out ever so lightly and slowly. You don't want to rip a hole in it, right? Because then you just have a holy pizza. So what I'm doing here is I'm just pressing it and pressing it out slowly. And with the oil on your pan, sometimes it just contracts back a little bit. That's fine. The more your hands warm up that dough, the more it's going to open up, okay? Now, I like to put the olive oil in my pan because I like it to get a little bit of a crispiness to the outside of the edge and underneath on the bottom. I don't know if you like crispy pizza, but I do. So mine is slowly opening up. Does anybody, I'm trying to see if you guys have your pizzas going there. Anybody have their pizza going? Can you show me your camera? Let me see. Rianne and Kurt, are you making that pizza? No? Okay, you're just watching me do it. All right, that's fine. So, here's the fun part. You can make your pizza as big or as small as you want. Now, the smaller it is, the thicker the crust will be. And if you want a thinner crust, you have to get it wider. Okay? That's all fun part of the science. If you have any fun bubbles, you can poke those out around the edges. I don't know about you, but it smells good over here. All right, here's my cool circular pizza. And then I'm just gonna get a spoon. And I'm gonna put the sauce that's in my cup right on top there. And if you look closely, you'll see some fresh basil in there, and that's gonna make that pizza taste extra good. My daughters like to just eat the sauce right out of the cup there. If they were standing here with me, that's what they would do. So I'm just getting all the way to the edge because I like my sauce all the way to the edge. Now I'm gonna grab cheese, and you can put as much or as little cheese as you want on there. I like a lot of cheese. Isn't it fun to think of food as science too? Because that's what it is. If anybody loves to watch the Food Network, you can catch Alton Brown, who talks a lot about the science of food, which is super fun. Now, you can grab your pepperoni, or if you just have a cheese kit, you're ready to put it in the oven. I'm gonna make a smiley face with mine. What do you think about that? I'm really having a good time learning with you today. I learned all about the exploding grapes, so I'm gonna have to try that. All right, everybody. Here's my smiley pizza. Who has a pizza ready? I'm gonna scroll through and see. I see Ben with his pizza. You're doing a good job. Who else is on here? Jamie, where's your pizza, girl? All right, I'm trying to find out other people. Okay, well, I'm gonna look forward to seeing you put your pizza photos on the page so I can see how good you did. And hopefully this pizza will make you smile. And Miranda, I hope you got a pizza too, because I want to see yours. Let me know how your pizza is, and I hope you have a great night, and I can't wait to see you. Maybe you can come visit me at the restaurant soon, and enjoy. This will cook about, depending on your oven, in about 10 to 12 minutes. And hopefully you're gonna love it as much as I do. I'm just gonna sit here and eat the sauce. Back to you, Miranda.
Thank you so much. I got to try that. Now I want to just eat the sauce. Great job. Okay, love the fork and spoon earrings she's wearing, and she's always glittery and fun. Good job on creating that pizza. Now, my friend Tara is back with something extra amazing. Tara?
All right, everybody. I hope you had some fun with those. We want to send you off with one last science demonstration while those pizzas cook in the oven. So follow me outside, and we're going to show it. I'm going to grab my safety glasses, though, first. And we want to share with you one last science demonstration before we let you go for the evening. So Tara again here with my friend Randy. And so what we want to talk about today is some interesting science with Alka-Seltzer. So you may be familiar, if I borrow one of these pellets, with these Alka-Seltzer tablets. So inside here is an acid and a base mixed together, but they don't react unless water hits them. So nothing happens, right? Just like this. But let's see what happens if you put it in some water. You want to put it in some water, Randy?
Yes, absolutely.
All right, we all know the song, right? So we got some fizzing going on. So those things are reacting now with the water, and that's producing this gas, which helps your tummy feel better if you have an upset stomach. But it's also creating that gas, and right now it can go out, it's just fine, right? It goes out into the air. But what would happen if we created some pressure with that gas? We could actually create a little rocket. So I want to show you that with, this is something, your parents know what this is, but you may not. It's a film canister. So before we had digital cameras, you used to put film in here to take pictures. So if we use the same technique, we put an Alka-Seltzer into the water, but we cap it. We're going to put that cap on it, and now all that gas that was released, it's going to start to build some pressure. How you doing, Randy? So we created ourselves a rocket. Isn't that cool? So that's something you could try at home, anything that you could put a tight lid onto with an Alka-Seltzer tablet. So a little fun, but here at the Institute, we like to do things big. If it's worth doing big. So we want to send you off with one final science demonstration where we didn't do just one of those rockets. We're going to do 500. So let's see what that's going to look like. Are you ready? All right. We're going to turn it. 1, 2, 3. All right. Let's get ready. You already had the helmet. All right. We'll let those last few go off as they feel like it, but I hope you very much enjoyed your time with us today. Thank you so much for spending it with us. Thank you again to Miranda for joining us, for the support from all the people who help us make this work, and especially to the staff who pulled this off. Just like teachers everywhere, they're really trying to figure out how to make virtual learning fun, hands-on, and make sure curiosity is not on quarantine. So if you want to learn more about what we do for students or for teachers, visit us at VAEI, VanAndleEducationInstitute.org, VAEI.org, and you can learn more about what we do. All right, Miranda, you can close us out.
Tara, that was so cool. Thank you. I loved seeing the chats and families clapping. Let's give everyone who participated a big round of applause. What a fun way to spend an hour. Curiosity Hour has me thinking there are so many things we can do and so many things we can learn. Thank you to all of our friends who have helped us think bigger and think like scientists tonight. Well, that concludes our program for tonight. We are so glad that your family joined us. Another big thank you to our friends at Crystal Flash and our friend Chef Jen from Amore for joining us. And hats off to Tara and the team. We look forward to hopefully seeing you soon at the Van Andel Education Institute. Until then, keep being curious and have a great night where you live.